So all of the lies from the administration about the Russian bounty story have completely imploded and fallen apart. And the reason that they've fallen apart is that even if the lies were true, they would only expose new problems. So let me give you an example. If Trump really hadn't been briefed about the Russian bounty situation, that's the problem. Why wasn't he briefed? That would be an absolute and total disaster, given that we know the topic got to the National Security Council. If the Russian bounty situation was in his presidential daily briefing months ago, why doesn't he remember? Is it a memory problem? That's also a huge problem. In other words, the explanations we've heard so far, if true, would all just be indicative of additional new and even bigger problems. And to sort of reset the story, the news broke over the weekend that there were reportedly Russian bounties. These are like cash bonuses offered to Taliban-linked fighters. If they were able to kill U.S. or coalition troops in Afghanistan, they would get a cash bonus. Okay, that's absolutely and utterly insane. Initially, the White House was silent for, I believe it was 24 hours. Trump was not briefed about it. We were told multiple reports came out later that Trump had been briefed as early as 2019 to as recently as spring. And eventually we got to the specific claim that the bounty report was in his presidential daily briefing in February. So at a press briefing yesterday, Donald Trump's press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, was asked, why isn't Trump reading the PDB? In other words, if it was in there and Trump doesn't know about it, is he not reading it? Does he not remember? And Kayleigh goes bonkers, saying Trump is the most informed person on the planet on issues related to threats against the United States. Take a listen.
Ask you maybe to defend why the president isn't necessarily reading his PDB when there are these types of issues that could arise.
The president does read, and he also consumes intelligence verbally. This president, I'll tell you, is the most informed person on planet Earth when it comes to the threats that we face. You have Ambassador O'Brien, who sees him in person twice a day, who sometimes takes the upwards of half a dozen calls with this president. He's constantly being informed and briefed on intelligence matters. But I'm not going to allow the New York Times to dictate when we give top secret information and don't give top secret information. That's an untenable proposition.
Well, there then.
Yes.
The lie falls apart when you go too far. When Trump once said, I'm the least racist person in the world, it was too hyperbolic, right? Just say you're not racist. It would be not believable if you're Trump, but it would be more believable than I'm the least racist person in the world. Same thing here. Trump is the most informed person in the world on threats to America. He doesn't even read his own presidential daily briefings. Just say he's informed. Like, just be less hyperbolic and it would be less obviously unbelievable. And I think that the sort of key reminder here is let's not take our eye off the ball. The three key points about the Russian bounty story are, number one, they seem to have lied again. Trump was briefed or told about this in some way, shape, or form, multiple sources and allegations that he was told either in 2019 or February of this year or the spring of this year, or in all of those instances. That's number one. That's really important. They lied again. Number two, the lies they told, if true, are only indicative of other arguably just as big problems, like why wouldn't Trump have been briefed about it? Number three, Trump was briefed and he still wanted Russia back in the G7 to make it the G8. He still withheld arms from Ukraine that they would have used to defend themselves against Russian aggression. That's absolutely crazy. And I guess number four, I said it was three things, but there's four. Trump has certainly been briefed by now, right? We know now he's been briefed. So now the question is, what is he going to do about it now that he's been briefed and without a doubt knows about it? And the answer is nothing. Trump actually tweeted this morning. I don't have the tweet handy, but he essentially tweeted he doesn't believe the story. Like he's just dismissing the story, despite the fact that we have officials of all kinds saying it's a credible story, it's a real story, it's a story we should believe. So that's just as important. Trump now has been briefed. Doing something? No, he's not doing anything. He's just dismissing the story as completely fake. Those are the main 4 points that we should be thinking about, again, when we recognize the importance of removing this terror as we get closer and closer to November.